Well, it looks like ShinyOdd is using more tires. How about I create less? Legitimately less too, no faking this. Let's hope that nothing gets changed by this. Except this time when I make it, it's going to be considerably better. So we're going to start with just a generic old body, one that's quite small to fit the model that I have in mind. Now, I tried to have the car body model as a mod, except I don't know how to make mods properly. So yes, the wheel is meant to be there, but this mod didn't work. I was repositioning the wheel and yeah, whatever. Chassis time! Now what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to replicate the car of my dreams. Now this is a car that I've had in my head for a very long time, and that's what we're gonna try to replicate. This car that I would have is gonna be fiberglass, and it's gonna be a monocoque, and because I can't go with fiberglass again, we're gonna go with a steel monocoque to add a little bit of extra weight too. Even if we're not going to use this structure at all, like, you get the idea. We're going to go with rear-wheel drive on this trike. The idea is it's going to have a hub-mounted motor, or a hub motor it's actually called. We're going to go with a front longitudinal, so then we can simulate having like maybe a battery pack in the front, even at that weight distribution. The front, we're going to have a fairly affordable and cheap McPherson strut. On the rear, we're going to go with a solid axle coil. So the idea is here that our tires are not going to be acting independently of each other. They're going to stay perpendicular, parallel. That's the one. I know maths, I swear. Now it doesn't matter what the engine is, just make a heavy one. It's about as big as I can get. None of this matters whatsoever. We're gonna also do the electric mod to this car because this is my dream custom made car. And the body itself doesn't matter too much either, but we are gonna see if we can flare out these wheel wells. Not quite what I had in mind. It's so weird that I can raise them up, but I can't widen them. I can widen the body in a weird, ugly way, but I can't widen the wheel well itself. Well, whatever. None of this particularly matters. The only thing that does matter is the paint job. So we're gonna make sure that our materials are preloaded. It's gonna be a plastic, it's gonna be a white or an off-white. I'm thinking a white. Now there are a few other colors I'm going to need as well. I'm gonna need a fairly dark plastic, so we don't want to go really dark like this, which looks good here in automation, but in BeamNG it just comes out basically as flat black. So we're gonna go with something like that. And we have interior as well. So we're gonna give it interior color. So the color I want is kind of a leathery brown color. There we go. That's a tan brown. I do like that a lot. And the only other thing we're going to worry about is our wheel choice. Now, what color, well, what type of wheel do we go with? We could go with some white walls. That would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, we're gonna try that out. You know, it doesn't matter what transmission we have. We're gonna go with a manual locker because we're gonna need to lock up that rear wheel because we're gonna get rid of one wheel and the other wheel is then going to want to spin freely because of the differential. We're gonna go with a cross ply because we're gonna go with a very, very cheap, hard, long knife type of thing. We're gonna make our wheels huge. Oh, okay, well, this car is limited in its wheel size, so we might actually change car. Okay, can our wheels go much bigger now? Yes, they can. Then we're gonna have like a really tall wheel as well. You know, maybe we should get rid of the white walls. Oh, bicycle wheels, huh? That's kind of cool. Yeah, now that's what we're gonna go with. I like that look. Now let's give it the appropriate offset. That should do it. We can change that later in the files anyway. And we want very narrow front tires because this thing is going to understeer like crazy. No, sorry, oversteer. Whatever, you get the idea. It's gonna not be balanced. Gonna go a solid on the front or one piston and a drum on the rear. I don't know why, it just to add more unsprung weight. Under tray, the one that I was thinking in my head is going to be a fully clad electric power steering and ABS. Standard spring, twin tube, passive. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, this doesn't matter anyway. We're gonna go with a sport. Then, the little trick here, we're gonna set this to absolute maximum. So then, the wheel won't want to turn sideways or rotate sideways very much. And there we have it. That's our trike. I know, it's amazing, right? I like it a lot. How do our brakes look? That should probably do it. This is braking versus grip. So if we have half the grip, then that's the half the braking. And well, let's move on because none of the rest of this matters whatsoever. We're also not going to have any downforce in this car. This is going to be a very economy car. There will be a race version in the future, yes. I also forgot to name it. This is going to be a part of the PCP brand. And it's going to be called the Triker after William Riker because this thing is going to be a little bit space age. Why does BeamNG never go full screen anymore? Anyway, we're going to go to the repository and we're going to unpack this mod. And we may as well get started on opening up. The first thing which is import DAE. We're going to grab our file, and then this is going to take a half an hour to open. The next thing we're going to start doing is we're going to work on the wheels for rear. I'm using Visual Studio 2019 to open this file up. We'll leave this for now because that's going to be a tricky one. It's here where we do the funny things. So here we have our axles group, and this is for your left side, and the two middle ones are for your right side. Now, if we set this offset, which is offset, which is the width from the middle of the car, this is the length of the car, and this is the height from the ground. This, if we set this to 0, it'll just not show up. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. So we're gonna get rid of the right side one because I'm left-handed, so I want to keep the lefty around. It doesn't particularly matter. And this we will change depending on a few different things. The one thing we're gonna do though, however, is make it further back. So we're gonna change this to 1.8 for now, and then this to a very small offset. And we just wait for this to load. Oh, this is taking forever. Well, I may as well now take this opportunity to say, if you like this sort of content, please subscribe, because there is a lot more of this on the way. Finally, we are back, and here is our 3D model of our car. Now, this is how it packs it all up, and then it tells it how to fit itself inside of the car at a later date. So what we're first going to do is we're going to grab the model that we have already. So this is my trike, the one that I love. And because we don't have the knowledge on how to make this trailing arm work, we're going to instead paste in this housing instead. And we're going to get rid of the things we don't need. So we're going to get rid of the wheels, and the rest can stay for now. Select all of it, join it wherever join is. Oh, hold on. That's right, I got a whole bunch of subdivisions here. Let's turn that down. It's gonna make it look really low poly, unfortunately, but that's what we're gonna have to go with. It's not perfect, but it makes a good example of what it is we're trying to do. So we're gonna select all that's visible, right click, join, Control C, go over to the one that we're working on, and we're just gonna place it in place. That is a lot of polygons. That is way too many, but it's fine for now. Now, we're gonna join these two, and then we're gonna find the paint colors. Now, it was the bonnet that had the thing that we need. Yeah, so that's for seats. Let's grab our seats. We're gonna select the ones that we want. Then L, Control L. There we go. We're gonna apply this new body texture. And then the front bumper area was the dark gray color. We're gonna assign that to this and to this. There you go, that's windshield.
One eternity later.
Now, we just go through and select all of this, hit delete, and vertices. I'm gonna try to line up these wheel wells to about there. And we're going to need to scale this up now to make it fit everything just a little bit nicer. For now, we're going to go Control I and get rid of the last of the previous body. All right, that should about do it if my calculations are correct, which they usually aren't, so we may have to come back to this. Export DAE, we're gonna put it back into the folder. And now we're gonna try it out for the first time in BeamNG. Bring in our new car, and I've stuffed something up. Something is seriously wrong here. Not entirely sure what it is. Are these doors inside out? Yes, the doors are inside out. Bugger. Well, that's why we saved it. We're also having issues with drawing the collision mesh. Is it because I did this wrong? Yeah. All right, let's fix this. There we go. We got rid of the wheels. Not exactly what I wanted to do, but yeah. All right, we undid what we did, and we're just doing it again with a fresh try. Okay, yes, we're able to get rid of one wheel, which is exactly what we're going to do. So we now have a one wheel, and we're going to just select the rear diff to be on lockers. And we have a working trike. Yes, we do. Whoa! Oh, it's a drift machine! All right, now let's go ahead and change this to where it should be. So I can't remember which one of these we want to change, so we're just going to change one at a time. We're going to change this to 1.8, save that, bring it back here, reload. Well, that didn't work. That rotated it. What the fuck? I'm just gonna interject here quickly. I didn't realize at the time, but this didn't happen in my earlier tests and experiments I was doing on my own to make sure this is even possible. But for some reason, when moving the wheel backwards, it would cause it to rotate in relation to where it was meant to be at the end of the axle. Okay, we're getting close now. Okay, we're getting it closer even more now. That was at -1, try -0.5. Oh, look how close we are. You know what? I'm happy with that. Now what we're gonna do is move it backwards, because if we try to move it whilst it's in the axle... Oh, wait, hold on. It works inside of the axle now? That didn't work like last weekend when I tried it. Well, oh yeah, we've also got the axle inverse for some reason. We also don't need a locker. That is peculiar. But we should also move this over, right? So this is left. We're gonna switch that to 0. Switch that to 0. Yay! Our tire and wheel are in harmony, almost, but close enough. So now we have an inversely functioning trike, where for some reason reverse is forwards and forwards is reverse. But we're doing pretty well. We're probably gonna make the front tires really big as well to make them fit in our area. This thing is also very oversteer happy. Jesus. You'll also notice that I have airspeed down the bottom. That is to help us out quite a bit. This thing just wants to oversteer. This is not an issue I had last time, but we can fix that by changing certain parameters, say the width of the tire itself. So let's bring this to a stop and have a look. Oh, this thing locks up something chronic. There we go. Now the rear tire is really fat. You know what? It might be the fact that I think the last time I had sports tires. This time I have just regular tires. Okay, I get the feeling that changing the width isn't actually making the tire more grippier. So we're gonna change this to something sporty. So we're gonna maybe say it's got twice the traction. It's better now. It's not like the most stable car in the world, but at least it has a lot better traction. So let's go now and start making some things invisible. Actually, we should go into Blender first and fix this inverted door for... God, why did that happen? So we're gonna select the door, Control L, mesh, flip, I think is the one. There we go. Much better. We should probably move the body a bit forwards. Hopefully that fixes it. There we go. Now let's make the suspension and frame chassis invisible. For that, we go to the J-beam named after the car, find the flex bodies, and the ones you don't want can be invisible. For some reason, I don't see suspension here, though. Okay, well, we got rid of the chassis so far. Let's just get rid of that rear suspension. Oh, suspension is in here. Yeah, duh, I'm an idiot. There we go. Now we've got it looking the way we want it to. And this is how we create our trike. We can inset these nodes if we want to, but for now we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to enjoy the car that we got. So you can see that it will flex and move a little bit whilst driving, and having that little wibbly wobbly weight on there might be a problem. Also, I believe that the node weight here, if we bring that in, that might help with our bombing knocking effect too. Wow, this thing really likes to torque steer quite a bit. Oh dear God. Oh, this thing is... unstable is the word I would like to use. Alright, let's go ahead and flip this axle around and make this vehicle electric. Now, do I remember how to do this off by heart? Probably not. As for the power RPM ranges, we're gonna start at 0 RPM with, I'm gonna say a 5 kilowatt motor. So that's gonna be somewhere around 5 Newton meters. I'm going to go ahead and skip this part. I'm going to put a link in the description to actually how to make a vehicle electric. And we're going to move on to just the rest of this vehicle. So we're just going to remove this. We've got it in diff locks. Now, for some reason, when you start moving around the rear tires, the speedometer stops working altogether. So that's why we've got this. We've got up here to show that it's electric. So now we can get rid of that because now I have proved that it is electric. And hold on, I suppose I should move it to show, yes, the electric is working finally. And yes, I suppose it's the gear limitation that we've got so far. This thing only goes about 30, but I want it to go 50 kilometers an hour, which is the speed which I would have this vehicle work at here in Australia, due to the fact that for some reason, there's no autocycle classification for registration here. It would have to be under moped, and mopeds, one of the things that they have to have is a 50 kilometer an hour speed limitation, and that's how you can get it registered super cheap, all that kind of stuff. For now, we're going to change this final, the gear ratio to something like a 2. Hopefully that'll help. Also, the other thing that I did is I went down into the gear ratio. I'm not quite sure if I remember telling you this, but I set it to minus to get rid of that reverse to go forwards issue. And now we rear diff lock. And away we drive. And guys, we have an electric trike now. I don't have headlights and stuff, but just ignore me. Oh, this is a nice little car. I do like it. I'm not sure why this is an oversteery mess, if I'm honest. Also, I don't know how to smooth out the modeling, the way that they do in the normal game. I don't know, maybe that's for a smarter person. I'll leave the files down for you guys to edit, but I'll show you the previous version I made for a test. And that was this thing. Now, I didn't bother cleaning up all the extra stuff, I just wanted to make sure that this worked. And this one drives a lot better. Yeah, also you have to control the gearbox manually for some reason. Yeah, you can't have it go automatically. So yeah, this one oversteers a little bit as well. Yeah, so that's that one. This one, a lot more fun, and that is going to be the basis for the next version. For now, we're probably going to make this wheel a little bit bigger. I'm going to change the radius here to something more like a 50 to make it a really big wheel. That's too big of a wheel. There we go. Does that work and everything? It's not rubbing, it's not popping or anything. Nice, good. But there is a problem here. The wheels haven't grown with it. So yeah, we're gonna now change that. To do that, we're gonna go here to the scale of everything for the left side. What the hell? What is happening there? Oh dear God, that was a mistake. That's yeah, that's not meant to happen. That's not meant to happen at all. What the fuck is that? Yeah, don't ask me to code your cars, friends. Yeah, this is not quite what I asked for. Oh, okay, yeah, that was my mistake. I accidentally put a 0 there. There we go. Oh boy, that was, yeah, oh, the rim size is too small. All right, we can fix that. There we go. We now have our new car. And lots of tire flex on the front, which is surprising considering that this thing is like a very small tire. Oh dear. All right, let's take this over and do a racetrack lap with it. I also don't have any brake lights or anything on it. That's probably something I could do in the future. Do we take it to the automation test track and just torture it? I think that's a bit unfair. This car is not a speed demon. You know what? We could probably do the handling track. I mean, that is the most important thing when it comes to this car. Well, apart from range. Range is quite important as well. So let's get the diff lock turned on and be ready to go. What's happening? Why is it not driving? I forgot to put the battery in. I do have a default thing set up for batteries, but for some reason, it's not working today, and I don't know why. God, that thing bounces a lot when it's dropped. Ouch! Why are you so harsh to me, BeamNG? Now, I do know how to change the mesh stuff, but that's going a little bit beyond the scope of today's video. We're gonna leave that for the next time that I start meddling with a car, which will be on Friday. I'm gonna take that car that I made last time and take it even further. Now, the big problem there was that I was getting no downforce on the front. So, if I go ahead and fiddle with that, I can move those nodes around and get some downforce on the front. I might also go for dual tires on the front. I'm not sure. I've never done it before, but I would love to give it a try. As for this thing, however, it is really slow. I probably need an airspeed down the bottom to actually know how slow this thing is, but you can use your imagination. This thing is a very cheap electric buzz box. Well, not even a buzz box. I mean, the buzz would happen if maybe you touch some of the live terminals or something, but for this, I probably wouldn't call it a buzz box because it makes no sound. I also don't know how to create... I mean, I do know how to create electric sounds. I just can't be bothered doing it because it is such an arduous task to go through and change everything. Especially when this would probably be very close to silent anyway, which would be something that I would go for. The rear hub motor, which they say are not particularly great, but when you're going for an econo vehicle type thing and the motors are so cheap, you don't need to worry about extra steering issues and all that kind of stuff. I think that the trade-off is fine. They can just replace it every 10,000 if they want. Get a cheap eBay replacement. It would be made with replaceable parts very easily. Generic, non-proprietary, like a lot of companies do, where they make them super expensive. But yeah, I'm glad you guys came by today. This is a car that I've always really liked, but only probably about a month ago when I was reaching the end of my 100 videos did I think, you know what, I might actually try to finally figure out if I can make a trike in this game. And the first thing I did is I changed the offset of one of the tires to 0, which made the tire disappear. And I went, oh, that's a problem. And then later on I found out that that was actually probably the best thing that could happen, because then I don't have to do some complicated math to try to delete a tire, because tires come in pairs. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this absolute monster of a vehicle that is not the slowest I've ever had. Oh, wait, I put the other trike around here, did I? I don't even remember doing that. And the PNS. Oh, that's right, the PNS is even slower. Well, I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this, but I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.